how's your day going? If you're watching the replay, hello. My name is Tatiana. I am a business coach and mentor for women wanting to start their own stationery businesses, and I'm excited to chat with you today just about believing in yourself and getting out of your way, because I know that can be difficult for us sometimes, and especially with the new year around the corner. I know everybody's getting ready to do all of the fun stuff with the vision boards and just writing down your goals and just kind of living out in some ways the past year and thinking about the things that you did or didn't do. And so I thought this would be a great live to do today, to just kind of talk about some ways that you can make sure that in 2022 you do actually start your business. And so one of the biggest things for me when I first started my business was that I was very fearful of it. I was basing a lot of my ideas in my head of how I thought things were going to go. I was basing that off of past issues and past things I had been through, past setbacks, failures, whatever you want to call them. I was basing it on all of those things. And so I wanted to just kind of share with you guys a little bit of my story, give you some tips and things to help you to get set up for 2022 when you are ready to start your stationery business, and just share some information on how you can get done doing that even quicker. So first of all, if you are watching, hello, I see some people are getting on. Comment, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know. I'm excited to chat with you guys today. Let's see. I should be working, but I saw you pop up and I had to tune in. Hey, Sierra. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you watching me while you're working, girl. Hopefully it'll be a nice little break up between things for you, but I won't be on here too long. I'm in between calls, but I decided I was actually going to do this in a few hours, but I decided I'm like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do this now because the day gets kind of unpredictable with a toddler that is now acting like she don't want to take naps. So I thought I would just go ahead and do it now. But hello, Renee from Boston. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know. And just overall, how's everybody's week going? So let's go ahead and get into this. So the first thing I wanted to just share with you guys is that when I first wanted to start my business, like I said, I was scared. And so I want to share with you guys. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Yeah, definitely give it a thumbs up if you're watching the video. I really would appreciate that. Good evening from UK. Oh my gosh, Kentucky, Memphis. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So when I first had the idea of wanting to start this business, y'all, I was using the Power Sheets. Now, I've talked about the Power Sheets many, many times on my channel before. It's one of my favorite brands is Cultivate What Matters. They make the Power Sheets. This was the very first set of Power Sheets that I purchased. And this is, you can see the year on there. These were the 2016 Power Sheets, y'all, okay? So the Power Sheets is basically, like it kind of helps you to plan out what you want to do for your upcoming year. And there's this whole section where you sit down at the end of the year and you kind of think, okay, how do I want this new year to look? What am I going to accomplish? What are some things I want to do? And so on. So in this one, it's funny because I went back and looked at this recently. I wrote in here a couple things. I wrote a lot of different things I wanted to do for what year would that have been? 2016. But one of the things right here, there's a few. Where is it at? So one says Stationery Empire. I didn't even know how to spell stationery when I put that, y'all. But Stationery Empire, I was spelling it with an A. I learned later that year it was with an E. And then I also wrote on here somewhere to start an Etsy shop or something. Oh yeah, start my own business empire. That's on there. Inspire women and girls is on here. Create a planner everyone adores. Like, I wrote this on here, and this was in 2015, December 2015. I wrote all this stuff down, and it's crazy. Like, looking at it, it kind of makes me want to like, woo, okay, because it's just funny to just see how your life just happens before your eyes. You don't even realize the different things that you pray for and that you hope for, that they're happening, right? But I wrote all of those things down. But before I had even got to the point of writing it down, I was so scared to even believe I could do it, just simply because of the things that I had been through. I went to college. I didn't get the job that I wanted out of college. And even before that, I thought I was going to be a singer. I didn't become a singer, as far as like performing and touring and things like that. And so with those failures, or what I felt was failures, and then me moving back home with my parents after college, All of those things, y'all, all of those things, they really took a toll on me. They made me very depressed. I went through a whole season of depression. I ended up going to therapy. And I really had to work through a lot of things, but it was a very rough time for me because I honestly felt like I had failed at the age of like 23 at the time. I'm like, wow, what are you doing with your life? And so I was basing all of those past issues and things, and even other stuff that I'm not necessarily mentioning, but there's just a lot of different things that play with our mindset. And so I was already telling myself, like, you can't do this. You weren't even able to be successful with singing, which was something that I had basically been groomed to do since I was younger. If you couldn't even do that, why do you think all of a sudden you're going to be able to start this business you know nothing about? And eventually I had to get out of my own way, and I had to do that. And that was when I wrote that down. And so what's so powerful about it is I wrote that down, you guys, and now here we are, basically 5 years later, almost 6 years later, and that is now the life that I live. Those things that I wrote down, they're now happening. And so I really wanted to do this live to just share with you that that can be you as well. If there's something that you're planning to put on your vision board or write down or just even think about or put it in your journal, or if you've been already doing that but you still haven't taken the action on it, this is really the live for you to just give you some encouragement to help you with that. And especially when it comes to wanting to start your stationery business. And so I see we got somebody from Arizona as well. Hey, crafty girls. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it so much. So basically what I want to share with you guys, I have my notes over here so that I don't get completely off. Because like I mentioned, I'm in between calls, so I want to make sure I'm staying on the course. But the main thing you need to have with this is confidence and clarity. I find that those are really the two major keys when it comes to launching a business, when it comes to whether it's a product business, a service business. At this point, I do both. You need to be confident and you need to be clear on what you're doing. And if you don't have those two pieces in the mix, it's really, really difficult to be able to move forward. And that's why a lot of times people get stuck. Whether you were like me and you were very fearful of getting started, you were talking yourself out of it, or whether you don't know exactly what you want to do or who it's for, or what is even the first step to take and different things like that. A lot of that stuff can really hinder us from finally starting. And so that is why confidence and clarity is very important. And so I actually have some little images that I made. I'm going to pull them up because I feel like it'll just be kind of fun and different to do. So I'm going to pull it up, and then if you're more visual like me, then this will be helpful for you. So first of all, let's just get into the first part of this. So with confidence and clarity, you guys, the first part is that you have to build your purpose. And so when you are building purpose to me, whether it's business related or it's more personal, if you have kind of like a purpose, a North Star, something that you're shooting for, it just makes life so much easier because you know what you're working towards. You know exactly what it is that you're working on. So with purpose, this is really where you're going to get a hold of the fear that you may be feeling and overcome that. Figure out why you're doing that to yourself. Why are you talking yourself out of it? And then figure out ways to set yourself up so when it comes and hits you in the face again, because I constantly deal with fear even 5 years later, of how to overcome it so that you can keep moving towards your ultimate goal of what that is. Like on here, I wrote literally, create a planner that everyone adores. Now, granted, I didn't make the planner until almost 3 or 4 years later. But the point is that was something that I wrote down, and maybe everybody doesn't adore it, but I adore it. And there are people that do love it as well. And so that's good enough for me. So you definitely want to be able to overcome the fear so that you can push through and get to these points. And then also within building purpose, you really want to get your clarity. So you want to figure out your foundation, as I call it. Who is your target audience, your target customer? What are you doing? Like what is your mission? What's the purpose of your business? Where do you see this business going in the next 3, 5, 10 years? These are questions that sometimes people don't sit down and really ask themselves a lot of times. And so it's important to get the purpose. And another thing as well is just to create overall your story. What do you have from your life that you can lend to someone else to help them in a situation they're in? Because even though we're talking about product-based business, it's really going to be about the story. It's going to be about the connection that you can build with people. And so it's important to establish that as well. And so then the next part of it is building your ideas. And so this is really where you can get into, after you've established your purpose and you've gotten that together, then you can get into the fun stuff of like, okay, I want to create a product. I've been wanting to do this planner. I've been wanting to do this journal. You'll be able to get into those things because you'll know the purpose of why. You'll know who your audience is, so you know that you're creating a product that they're going to adore, right? And it's going to allow for you to just create a place for where people can come and shop with you. So this is really where you're taking all of those ideas you have of saying, okay, I really want to launch a planner in 2022. People have to have somewhere to shop with you. They have to have an actual product to create, or you have to have actual product to create. And so that's really where you're building on your ideas and really taking it from just an idea to something you are physically holding in your hand, something that people are interested in, something people can interact with. So that's really going to be that piece of it. And then the last piece of it is to build connection. So when you build connection, this is really when you're taking all of these things together. You've overcome your fear, you're ready to go, you know your foundation, you know your audience, you have your target idea, you know what product you're going to be launching, you know your launch date, all of just those foundational things. So now it's like, okay, how can I take all of this stuff and turn it into a connection with my audience? So then you can start putting yourself out there and start sharing the journey, which I always talk about, showing the behind the scenes. People love to see that. It builds so much connection with people. Building your email list and figuring out how to get your ideal customers on the email list. So creating an opt-in that they're really going to love, that will make them be like, oh, that's kind of cool that they're doing that. Let me check them out. And just overall building up the momentum about your brand. So when it comes to launching, you are going to be that person that is on there telling them, this is what's going on with my business, but I also want to share this encouragement with you today, or I also want to give you this piece of life hack, or, whatever the case is, because it's always about giving value as well as selling. You never want to just sell. You want people to feel like they're getting something from you as well. And so that's all part of the connection. And that is what gets people excited and really wanting to work with you. And so if you don't do these things, then you continue to stay stuck, because you don't know how to get your ideas off the ground. You're still kind of just thinking about it. You stay afraid because you don't know your purpose. You don't have a why to know what you're supposed to be doing. And you stay inconsistent because you don't know what to talk about, or you don't know how to get an email list built or anything. And so you give up after a while, especially like if you try to put yourself out there once and you don't really get a lot of traction from that. That's inconsistency. You just stop because you don't feel like anyone is connecting with you. And so that's a little bit of a visual on that, just so you guys can kind of see a little bit. But pretty much the main thing with that is that when you have a process, when you have a plan, this is when you can set yourself up for success to actually make it happen. And it will no longer be something that you just wrote down for your vision board just because it was cute or just because it was a good idea. A lot of the women I work with, most of the time, they've been thinking about doing something like this for years or many months. A lot of times they've been watching a lot of videos on how to do it, but they haven't taken any action yet. A lot of times they maybe have even started, but then they stopped because they ran into one setback and then they weren't able to really move past that. And so there's different reasons as to why we don't move forward with our dreams and the things we want to do. But it's just important to remember that it's natural to have setbacks. It's natural to doubt yourself. But you have to just remember that there's a reason it was placed on your heart. And I feel like every time I say that, I always laugh because I know that I say that all the time on my channel, but I think it's just true. It's like stuff doesn't just happen for just no reason. Like if you're thinking about something, if it keeps you up at night, or maybe even not at night, but like every so often it appears in your head again, or if you're seeing somebody else out there online and they're doing something that you've been wanting to do and it's like, I can do that too, then it's there for a reason, So really lean into that as well. And so let me know if you guys that are watching, let me know what type of products are you guys wanting to launch in 2022. I'm interested to hear, so definitely feel free to comment and let me know. I love to just see what you guys are thinking about doing. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes just to make sure that I'm on track with what I was talking about. Or if you have any questions as well, put them in the comments. So pretty much if you are really serious about wanting to get started next year, you're serious about wanting to launch at some point next year, get your planner launched, your notebook. Those are like the main things I find. I pretty much help a lot of people with doing planners and notebooks. That's like the biggest thing. But really just stationery as a whole, if that's something that you're thinking about, then this process is something that you definitely want to consider. And if you didn't get a chance to write it down, maybe come back to the replay so that you can see it as well. Let's see, we got journal planners with pens to start. Love it. I love it so much. Pens are always really fun as well because there's so many different types of pens and ways that you can do those. But yeah, so I wanted to just share with you guys that very exciting. I actually am going to be launching my accelerator program for the very first time, and we only have 3 spots left though. Already we only have 3 spots left. But that program is going to be open, and we actually kick things off on December 1st. And so just this last quarter, I have helped, I want to say it's about 5 women have launched within the last quarter. So they've either launched a planner or a journal, and I'm just really excited for them. I'm definitely going to try to have some of my clients on so you guys can meet them and kind of just hear a little bit more about their stories as well. But I absolutely love doing this. Like, I love just seeing people light up as their ideas start to actually become a thing. And it's really cool too, because when you finally hold it in your hand, it just makes all of the blood, sweat, and tears worth it, because I promise you it will be a little bit of all of those things at some point. You might even want to give up at some points. It happens, but it's always worth it when you finally get to that. And so it's really cool just to see these ladies finally launching, because they worked so hard. I would like to launch journals, notebooks, and planners, trying to create multiple streams of income. I love it, Renee. I'm right there with you. So nervous. Yes. Well, definitely don't be nervous. Well, it's natural to be nervous. I'm not going to say don't be nervous. But it's definitely something that you can do. 100% you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm just being honest about that. But I wanted to share with you guys, if you are interested in working with me, because a lot of times I don't really ever talk about that on here a ton. I always have the links down in the description, but I don't really ever talk about my programs as much. And so there are 2 different programs that I have. It's really, essentially, it's the same program, but there's 2 different ways that you can kind of go within that program. So I'll share that with you just so you can kind of see. So it's called the Inspire Blueprint, and there's 2 different ways you can work with me through this. So we have the Inspire Blueprint, and it's more so kind of like DIY in a sense, and our community. That's really where we do our monthly calls and different things like that. And then we have the Accelerator program, which is going to be more hand holding. It's going to be a lot more accountability. We have a very small group, and we'll be meeting for 3 months together, twice a month, and it's really more intensive. So it'll give you a chance to get all of your questions answered very specifically to you, and to just really give you the process you need to get started. And so this process that I just walked you guys through, this is my framework. This is exactly what I walk through the clients, the ones that just launched recently, all of the women I've worked with. This is the process that we work with together in order for them to be able to finally launch and get there. And so these are the 2 different options available. If you are interested, there is a link down in this description of this video to set up a kickoff call, and then that way we can talk together about which option might work the best for you, because you might think that like, oh, I want to do the accelerator, but then you might find that the Inspire Blueprint might be a better fit for you, or vice versa. So I would love to chat with some of you guys. You can set up a call with me. And then we can definitely see if it will be a good fit. But I wanted to share this because I've never shared this on here before. So I wanted to share that. And then if you are interested in the accelerator, it's a very small group, like I said. So I'm really only trying to do no more than 4 people. We have 3 slots left for that, and we start on December 1st. So that is pretty much a little bit about that. And also, from now until the end of next week, I am doing a Black Friday pricing as well. So if you are interested, this is even more of a great time to get in as well, because things are discounted for the holidays. So that is pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions about anything? Just to recap what I talked about, I really just wanted to come on here and just share with you guys that I had wrote down in this power sheet in December 2015 that I wanted to, literally reading it on here, start my own business empire, inspire women and girls, stationery empire. Somewhere on here it says start an Etsy shop, but I don't see it. All of those things were on here, and it was just an idea, and then I was able to turn that into something so much more amazing, which is what you basically see now. And I never ever in a million years would have thought that I would be coaching other people to do it. But because of this, I wanted to just share that I know we're coming up on the new year, and I know people are starting to think about the things that maybe they didn't do this year, or starting to think about what they want to do for next year. And so this was just me kind of sharing a couple of action steps to help you with that. And so again, to just recap, the biggest thing is you really want to figure out what your purpose is. You want to decide why you're doing this business, overcome the fear that you're having, and really get to the heart of who is it for? What are you doing it for? Why? And where do you want to go with the business? That's all about your purpose. You want to build your ideas. So really taking those ideas of starting a journal or a planner and actually making it a physical thing, and how to do those steps to get there, and having somewhere for people to actually buy it once it's ready. And then building the connection, which is taking all of the things really from your purpose, your story, and the reason of why this business is going to exist, and connecting it with your audience so that you can really build a business that stands the test of time. So that is pretty much the process to really just kind of get out of your own way to get started and kind of have a plan to move forward. Let me see. Renee said, so dope. You are sharing your space and inspiration to potential competitors, just like music, there is something for everyone. Oh my gosh, yeah. And that is funny too, because I've had a couple people like on calls and stuff, they'll say that and they'll be like, well, how are you doing this and you have a business as well? And I've just never been a person that felt like I couldn't pour from my cup but also still have something in my cup, you know what I'm saying? And I know just with seeing, especially over the last year and a half of working with people, that it doesn't take anything away from my business, and I feel more full as a person to just be able to help so many other people. That's really just my goal. And so yeah, I'm glad that you realize that, because yeah, I'm really just here to help, honestly. And so that is pretty much all I have for you guys. I have to hop off because I do have a call coming up in just a few minutes. But again, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about the Inspire Blueprint or the Muse Accelerator, just click the link down below to set up a kickoff call with me. And then on that call, we'll be able to discuss which option might be a little bit better for you. And that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys next week. I'm going to be going live again, I'm sure, next week at some point. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.